cooking the apples, they kind of tend to stick to the bottom of the pan. And I told my mom I was doing this workshop, and she called me up because she forgot to tell me something. She was like, "Don't forget to add water," and I would have probably forgotten. So just a little bit, just because otherwise, the natural acidity in apples makes it so you don't have to add any vinegar or lemon juice. Oh yeah, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's really. So by adding water, you're decreasing the acidity, and so it's not going to preserve as well. Because you need to, like when you can't just like can veggies. You have to add an acid. You have to pickle them. But fruits have natural acidity, so you can just can them. So, and then you cook them up until they get to the consistency that you want. And you make sure that your jars are hot and clean, and your lids and it's okay not to have the screw caps tight or hot. But you make sure the lids are hot, and you make sure the jars are hot, and then you pour in the hot applesauce. This is so the jars don't break, because with glass, if you like heat up one part of the glass, we had this experience when we were trying to pour hot tea into a pickle jar, essentially. And when you have this boiling hot liquid and the jar is not heated up, it breaks. Which is why sometimes when you're canning, I've never had this happen to me, not yet. I just Anyway, this is why sometimes your jars will break while they're in the boiling hot water bath. So, because the jars, it's not heated equally. So, you don't want that to happen. You want to make sure your jars are hot, and we keep them in the oven when we do it usually. But yeah, so when I did it I tried pickling some veggies. I did pickle some radish a couple weeks ago, but I did it the college student version where like you need a magnet to take out the lids, and you need like an actual like canning pot, and you need all this stuff. And I had like a soup pot, and I didn't have like, it was dumb. If you're gonna can, make sure you do it right. Make sure you have the materials. You need a magnet, you need the thingies that you use to lift out. I'll go grab them in a bit. And you can see.
They're like tongs.
Yeah. You don't want like a pair of hot dog tongs and your fingers. Because you'll burn yourself and you'll have a scar of Africa on your stomach. Okay. It looked like Africa for a while. Now it just looks like a scar. Yeah.
And we cook them, then we use the Foley. Then we put them back in a different pot, and then we added the spice and got them up to the heat that we needed, and then canned them. Saves an awful lot of time.
Did you say you used a Foley?
Foley.
What is that?
It's a strainer, and it has a handle, and it strains out the fruit and leaves the peels in the container.
Nice. That would save so much time.
Yeah.
But I do it the mom way, where she's glaring at you, making sure you get all the peels off.
And Hannah, you can do it bland, like you're talking about, and then add the cinnamon, the sugar, and all that after.
Yeah.
Some people don't like it, some people do, make it, doctor it up the way you want it.
Yeah. I know my mom makes sure I like spicy applesauce too, and my mom makes sure I don't like sneak it in there.
Right.
I would like to put some cayenne in mine and probably make it a little better.
I have planted him afterwards.
Yeah, afterwards. But I forgot to mention that before we even do any, like you said, you scrub them. What I do, what my mom taught me, is we soak the apples for a while in some ice cold water, and we kind of bounce them around and scrub them a bit to make sure that there's no pesticide residue on them. because apple trees especially are really prone to insects and blights, and so they spray them pretty often. Some, like, if you've ever tried to buy organic apples, you realize like it's really expensive. Like, we tried to buy some organic apple cider the other day. It was $7.99 at Tops, and I was like, no way for a little one. So you really want to make sure your apples are clean before you do any of this, even though like you're getting the peels off before you're cooking them and stuff. Or if you want to reuse the peels, I know Carmen.
Right in the back.
Okay, I didn't know this. But you're going to use the peels for potpourri, you said?
Oh yeah. What you do is you take your peels, and if you have a cinnamon stick, and you have some dried cinnamon, some ginger, it makes the house smell nice. And you can put it in a crock pot, or you can put it in a boiling pot on top of the stove. And that way we don't waste. You can either compost it, or you can recycle it before you put it in the compost.
Feed it to the deer.
Yeah, I know. We used to dump. Before we didn't have a compost, so we would just like dump them out in the side yard. But I built a compost bin for my mom. I'm like, Mom, you got to use it. And she's like so excited about composting on the fields this year. It's really cute.
I can't give them all.
And then you can them and you put them in the boiling water bath and you cover it. You always, everything I read says you want to cover the boiling water pot. I don't know why.
Steam.
I'll tell you why. My daughter-in-law, I told her how to can. Gave her my canner and everything else. And she says, Mom, there's mold in here. They weren't covered. And it creates mold.
Thanks for telling. That's really good to know. So I'm glad I cover mine. I'll tell my mom too that. Why? Because she just does it. So you make sure you cover it and you take it out after 20 minutes. And this is where my mom's like, don't touch them. Like after we pick them up with the little thingies and we put them down. And at least in my experience, you're not allowed to even like get near them for 24 hours.
Unless they're optic plates.
Really? She won't let me touch them. She's like, don't you get near those. Don't touch them.
Once they've
Nothing.
got a good tight seal, you can touch them.
Okay, cool. Because I have a habit of poking them.
When you take them out of the water, do you have to burp them?
No,
See if the top is bulged?
they burp themselves.
Self-burping.
If they don't burp, then it isn't sealed.
That's what I mean, you gotta check them, so how you gonna tell? Sometimes you can't tell, it's just a little curve there.
That's why you're not supposed to reuse the lids, I think. You're supposed to get new lids every time.
Yeah.
That's right.
During the war, we reused the lids and reused them because there were no lids available.
All the steel was
Did that work well, reusing the lids?
Well, you have to be extremely careful that they are flat and that there's no impediment in the seal.
You see if it's rounded, there's air in there.
Yeah. So,
It's a harder process using the seals again.
These days it's not recommended though.
yeah, maybe it's because the seal on the lids now, they're plastic, highly plasticized. It's a plastic. And so they say like it forms an indent and then the indent doesn't come out of it. But yeah, it's cool to know that you reuse them though. So also you always want to make sure all the air bubbles are out of it. What we do is we take a metal knife, and make sure there's nothing in it. Now they have the little plastic dip things that are in the new kits, but I personally don't like to put like plastic in a hot liquid material, just because there's things in plastic that they don't stay in plastic and they like to get in your food, and it's not good for your health. So you want to try not to like microwave plastic or heat up plastic or stick it in hot liquids. So that's pretty much how you can applesauce.